Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Too Much Tech, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be taking you guys on a quick journey online just to see what parts I would personally buy if I was going to be building a new PC in the holiday season under $1,000. Now, the build that I just picked out comes in at around $900, and I did it on purpose just to save you guys a little bit of money so that you can get some peripherals and stuff like that for the $1,000, which I think a lot of people usually tend to leave out. And they kind of spend all their money on the PC, and it's like, okay, what are you gonna use, like a dollar store keyboard and mouse? Like, that's no fun. You just spent all this money on your new PC and you got no keyboard and mouse. So I left you guys a little bit of room in here to buy like a Model O and a cheap keyboard or something like that. Most importantly, buy a good mouse when you buy your new PC. That is super duper important to make sure you have a good mouse. Keyboard, on the other hand, it's not really that important. You can upgrade your keyboard at any point, but having a good mouse will directly affect your gameplay. And if the whole point of this is to build a quality budget PC, you don't want to gimp yourself and get a horrible peripheral like a mouse that's going to drastically affect your gameplay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and move into the build and see what parts that I picked out. You guys probably seen some of my tabs up top, but I'm just going to go through this quick PC part picker list and let you guys know what I got and why I picked these parts. So first of all, we got the AMD Ryzen 5 3600. Obviously, this is one of the best processors for the price. I will pick the Ryzen 5 over the 9400F Intel wise, just because AMD allows you a little bit more room in terms of upgrades. Like, let's say next year AMD comes out with a better processor and you want to swap out your existing chip for the new chip. Well, if you go Intel, you probably won't be able to do that upgrade path, just because Intel is not really big on that. It's like, if you come out with a new Intel chip, you basically gotta sell your old chip and motherboard and buy a whole new set, and it's just not a good setup in my opinion. And I wish Intel would change, but it is what it is at this point. Back to the Ryzen 5. In other words, it's really highly rated. You do have some pretty decent clock speeds. You can probably overclock it up to about 4 gigahertz on all cores and get the best performance that you can. You probably can do it past a little bit more, maybe 4.1 or 4.2 on all cores. I don't know, I haven't tried it personally myself, but in terms of all the reviews that I've seen and the research that I've done on the i5 3600, this would be my pick for the processor. In terms of the motherboard, I would go with another Gigabyte board. I've been having pretty good luck with Gigabyte boards in the past, so I don't see any reason why to change now. And I also do think that the Gigabyte boards look the cleanest in terms of just motherboard design compared to everything else out there, like some of the Asus ones and some of the ASRock ones. I just think that the Gigabyte looks the cleanest. So I would go with the B450 Aorus Pro Wi-Fi, just to make sure that if you aren't next to your router or have access to an Ethernet cable, you can still game on a Wi-Fi and have pretty decent connection. You also have a couple M.2 slots for some M.2 drives. You got RGB on the board as well, so you do have a lot of really good options built right into the board. Unfortunately, since we're going with the B450 platform, we won't have like the future proofing of PCIe 4.0, but in this context, if we don't want to spend an extra $80 for a feature that we're really not going to be able to use right now, and realistic speaking probably won't be a really big deal for the next couple of years anyways, I would say save the extra money and put that toward another important part in your gaming and productivity setup. And a setup like this is going to be really good for gaming and maybe some light streaming as well. So that's the nice part about it. If you want to save some money, since the Ryzen 5 does come with a cooler, you don't have to buy a cooler. But I figured, since this one is on sale for about 60 bucks, even if it goes up to full price of $75, but now it is also combinable with the savings and a $10 mail-in rebate. This Coolermaster 240 liquid cooler with RGB looks really cool to me, and personally, if I was buying a build under $1,000 and I wanted a liquid cooler just to keep the system a little bit quieter, then I would go with something like this. And for the price, I really don't think that you can beat it, and the reviews seem pretty solid as well. And I think the overall design is really clean and looks good. As far as RAM, I would go with the G.skill Trident Z RGB at 3200 megahertz. 3200 megahertz is what the 3600 supports out of the box, and I have noticed that with AMD systems, RAM speed is really important. I wouldn't get anything less than like 3200 megahertz, because as you can see, now it's only 70 bucks for 16 gigs of this high-speed RAM, and I think that that is a really good deal, and you'd only be using up a couple of the slots on your motherboard. So at some point, if you wanted to upgrade to 3200 megahertz, after some time has passed, maybe the price will go down a little bit. If not, pick it up at the same price, and you can upgrade to 32 megabytes, fill up those RAM slots on your motherboard, and your build is gonna look a lot cooler in the future. But for now, since we're just getting started and getting the minimum, I would just go with the 16 gigabytes of this Trident Z, and I think it looks super clean too. Definitely not a bad choice in terms of RAM, and it is pretty popular as well. Next, in terms of the SSD or storage, I would go with another crucial P1 1TB drive, and for just under $100, I do think that this one is a really good deal. This is currently what I have in my system, and you do get some pretty decent performance out of it. I don't have any complaints. It works well, it loads my games fast, and does have plenty of storage for the price. You can always spring for like a smaller SSD and a 1TB or 2TB hard drive, but I thought that economically speaking and simplicity speaking, just going with a single drive, this would be a really good option. In terms of GPU, on PC Part Picker, they did not have the 1660 Supers loaded in just yet, so I just, put an EVGA 1660 in here at the same price as the 1660 Super that I would have picked out. I'm really impressed with the performance because they changed it from GDDR5X, I believe, to GDDR6, and it's a lot better than a 1660 and really close in performance to a 1660 Ti without having to spend the extra 40 or 60 bucks on a 1660 Ti or 2060. So for $240, I would go with this EVGA 1660 Super because it's nice, it's compact, it's got a simple design, and hopefully it's pretty quiet. And it's also not the cheapest graphics card that you can get as well, just because it does have a really nice all metal backplate. So I appreciate that. And once you do the mail-in rebate, it actually drops another $20 in price. So that will save you a little bit of money there. Now, of course, to power all this stuff, we're gonna need a power supply, and we can do the EVGA 600 watt power supply for about $50 after a $15 mail-in rebate. And I do think that this is a really good price for a decent power supply that will work with your system and power everything and still give you a little bit of headroom in case you want to upgrade down the line. And I think that's really important too. Don't skimp out and get the cheapest power supply that you can get with the minimum requirements to power your system, because inevitably at some point you're gonna upgrade. So leave yourself some room in the power supply so that the next time you do an upgrade to your system, like buy a more powerful processor or a more powerful graphics card, that you don't run into issues and feel like your PC is busted when really you could just be using an underpowered power supply. So go with something like maybe 600 watts or better. That way when you upgrade in the future, you got plenty of headroom for new parts. The case that I would go with is this Fantex Eclipse P300. It's a pretty minimal case, and I think that it looks pretty good. It's got a tempered glass side panel, and it looks like you're gonna get some really decent airflow. Of course, like in the front of the case, you can install your 240 millimeter liquid cooler there. If not, you can just buy some cheaper fans. Maybe you'll spend 20-30 bucks on some fans and use the Wraith cooler that's included in there. You do have an exhaust fan at the back of the case as well, and I think that it just looks really cool. Spend 10 or 20 bucks on an RGB light strip and put it inside, and you'd be good to go. You'd have a pretty clean looking system for just under $1,000. And then, like I said, in terms of peripherals, maybe just buy like a Model O or MM710 or whatever, and a cheap keyboard, and that way you can keep your entire build under $1,000. But if you guys have any questions, be sure to drop a comment or jump in my Discord, feel free. But I just wanted to let you guys know, for the holiday season, if I was spending less than $1,000 on a PC, this is what I would be looking at. And if you guys already have a keyboard or mouse that you like and you're just thinking about upgrading your system, then obviously you got another 100, maybe 110, 20 bucks in here to upgrade these parts, or add something else like another SSD or another 2TB hard drive or something of the sort. Maybe some extra RAM, maybe a slightly better processor, a slightly better cooler, or slightly better motherboard, whatever. But you've got some room in this build to be able to be under $1,000 and build quality PC. If you guys enjoyed this vid, maybe give me some ideas of like what to do next. If you like this style, maybe I'll do another one with like an extremely high-end PC build and spend like, I don't know, like $3,000 or $4,000. If it was up to me, if I was building that kind of rig, what I would do. And yeah, if you guys know of any companies that want to send out these parts for me to do a build, a physical build for you guys, then yeah, hit me up in my email. I would love to check this stuff out if any companies are willing to send me some of these parts, and maybe we can put this thing together before the end of the year. It would be nice, not expected, but if anybody's listening, Think about it. All right, you guys, smash that like button and drop a sub if you guys are new. We have been killing the subscribers recently, just trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So really appreciate you guys' support. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video.